again, everybody. Kevin Canessa coming to you live from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this Thursday, April the 2nd, in the year 2020, a year that I think most of us are going to learn to hate and learn to forget. Hope you're all enjoying your Thursday, no matter where it is you are in the country. I know a lot of people, of course, are home from work, and you don't have all that much to do. So we decided we would do a little bit of a call-in today. Never done this before, and who knows if anybody will actually pick up the phone. But if you would like to get in touch and have a discussion about what you're doing with the COVID-19 at home, whether you're working, if you have any recipes that you want to share, things that you've been doing, you can call in. The only thing is we don't have screeners or anything like that. So when somebody's on the phone, don't call in until they hang up. And I don't think there's going to be a big rush to get through anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. But the number to call is 201-201-8720. That is not a mistake. 201-201-8720. Very easy to remember. We'll open up the phone lines in a few minutes. But, these rides that I've been doing in the morning and in the afternoon coming into work and going home from work, it just gets more and more bizarre as the days go on, with so many people inside and not working and doing what they're doing, not seeing humanity at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday is just indescribable, really. I don't know about you, but if you've been out at all and you see that lack of humanity, it is just absolutely stunning, really. And I feel the worst, of course, for all of the people who own small businesses who have not been able to open up, and for all the small business owners who have been able to open up but have seen a dramatic cut in their business. It's just unfathomable, really, that we would have to go through this, but we are. And to think that more people have died from COVID-19 already who died on September the 11th, 2001. Can you even imagine that? More people have died in this than have on September 11th, 2001, but that's the reality. That is where we are right now. That it's going to get worse, too. It's going to get higher and higher and higher. And, every day after leaving the office and going home, I've been stopping by the Greeks for something to eat, and then I go back to the house, and I bring the food with me because, as you know, you can't eat in these places anymore. And that's a place where you see a sea of humanity when you walk in at noon. Every booth is taken. There are people everywhere, sometimes waiting to get in. And then when you open up that door now and you don't see a single soul in there but John and Heather, it's just mind-boggling. It really is. But the beauty is that there are people who have been supportive of all these small businesses by getting takeout orders. Even if you don't need a takeout, I think a lot of people are using takeout just because it feels good to be able to support people who won't otherwise have a stream of income. It's just unbelievable. And folks, I don't want to sound like a whiner or anything of that nature, but you also have to remember that we're a small business too here at The Observer. And we're all in this kind of together. People think of a newspaper too often, I think, as a nonprofit entity. We're not a nonprofit entity. We make our money. The reason I get paid is because of generous advertisers who want their advertising in our newspaper. And that's something a lot of people forget, even about newspapers. I can't even tell you how many times people have said to me over the years, so the town owns you guys, right? No. This is a privately owned business, and it's like for many others, it's not been easy. So we rely on the support of generous advertisers, but when generous advertisers don't open their doors or can't open their doors, they don't advertise. See, that's how it works. And so we've been fortunate that some of the most recent advertisers that we have, Midtown Pharmacy, Arlington Pharmacy, some of the restaurants that are doing takeaway or curbside or delivery who haven't advertised with us, we're fortunate that they have. We are. So again, I don't want to sound like a whiner, but this is how it works. So as much as other small businesses are struggling, we're all in this together. We are all in this together. And as time goes by, it doesn't seem to be getting better right now, obviously. You know that. You watch the news, you see it on TV. You know that it's not getting better. It might be a couple more weeks before we see a flattening of the curve, as they keep talking about, get to the apex. And then hopefully at some point the number of deaths and cases will start to go down instead of up as it is, and in certain cases tripling overnight. New Jersey's the second highest number of cases in the entire United States of America. And Dr. Anthony Fauci was on yesterday and this morning, and Sanjay Gupta has said this, and I think what you'll notice is that the reason is, of course, because we are basically just one metropolis. You know, New York City, New Jersey is all basically one. So that makes it so difficult, especially in Bergen County. Bergen County is getting just slaughtered right now. I can't think of another word. But that's what one of the reasons, of course, because so many people in Bergen County commute to New York. In the towns that we cover here at the Observer, for anybody who may be new, that's Kearney, Harrison, East Newark, North Arlington, Lyndhurst, Nutley, and Belleville. It's Nutley that's getting hit hard, and so is Belleville. And fatality-wise, Nutley has 6. Kearney's had 2. Belleville has had 2. We know of one of the fatalities in Kearney because yesterday the deceased's best friend was on with me and is reaching out to people to donate to the GoFundMe page. And you can find that on facebook.theobserver.com if you didn't get a chance to see it yesterday when it was live or when it was recorded, to check that out. This woman was 55 years old and has 2 children and a husband, 22-year-old daughter, and a 29-year-old son who is also in Claramas Hospital, Claramas Medical Center right now. And in Clara, he is not doing so well, the last we heard. 29 years old, and he has Down syndrome. His best friend in the world was his mother, and she's gone. My dear friend, my surrogate sister, Alyssa Ficeto, is in the chat room, and she says, "Thank you, Kevin and Lisa, for doing what you do and keeping us all informed. We appreciate it." Alyssa, thank you for being there every morning, every time I do my little rides, and for the support that you, your dad, Councilman Jerry Ficeto, 4th Ward of Kearney, does. You know, he's been out there a lot. Thank you for always being supportive to us. The one thing I can say about the Observer readership, no matter what, it is a loyal readership, and the viewership too. People, I know it's a little different now because you got nowhere else to be. I'll take it. I'm glad that people are showing up and watching and being part, because being able to connect with you makes this worth everything. It really does, because it's different when you don't have social media like this, but being able to connect and know the people who you serve is just a incredible joy for me. It really is. Melanie Ryan says, Alyssa just needs things to be better for her wedding, which is coming up on November 8th. Melanie Ryan is correct. I just hope that she's able to have her wedding in November. Just hope. November 8th. Seems like it's far away, but it'll be here before we blink. Alyssa, of course, is marrying her fiancé, Michael Machado. The two of them are Ranger fans, but not everybody is perfect, as you know. So it's difficult, of course. You know, there will be Ranger fans in this world, unfortunately. Maybe some of you out there are Ranger fans. I don't know about you, but I miss hockey. I miss baseball. And the funny part of it is that for the most part during the course of the season, because the Devils have been so awful, they didn't put the games on that much. The last game of the season so far was against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They lost, shockingly. And a friend of mine and a colleague of mine was at that game, and I jokingly said to her, yeah, well, you basically got to see the last Devils game ever played. I was being facetious at the time, but it just seems like, I mean, they're talking about the possibility of there not being hockey, baseball, basketball, football for years with crowds, because it would be too much of a danger to put 17,000 people in a hockey arena or a baseball stadium or a football stadium with this not being vaccinated yet. They have to come up with a vaccine soon. I mean, and I don't care that it takes a year sometimes with these testing procedures. You have to make sure that everybody reacts well to it. They got to push this pace up, man. They really do. The FDA, the DEA, whatever it is, whoever the hell is responsible for this, pick up the pace. Get this vaccine done. I mean, it's got to get done. I just thought of that. 2 years without getting a chance to see a hockey game in person. No, I don't like that thought. I hope they can fix this quicker than that. That would really stink. Although it might be good for the Rangers, because at least they won't be so bad if they're not playing at all and if they have no fans in the arena. Yeah. Ranger fans are going to say that's the way the Devils play anyway, in front of no fans, but that's fine. So that's it. What's going on in your world out there? What's going on in your world? I wonder. Do you get a chance to go out? Do you get a chance to, do you get in your car and just drive around? Some people have said that they've done that. Do you go for a walk every day, even though you never go for a walk? Is the best part of your day when you go out and walk the dog? Just because you get to see some sun and sunlight and sky. I love walking out of my apartment at like 10 in the morning and walking to my mother's car, even though it's a block away or a little less, because at that moment it's great. Even though I don't necessarily want to be outside, but as long as nobody else is around. Melanie Ryan says she drove down 22 last night just because. And I don't blame you for that. You want to get out for a little while. You want to just get the heck out of the house. You're tired. I worry about what's going to happen with married couples here. This is going to make or break a lot of marriages, don't you know? Don't you think? I mean, really. You really will learn, if you didn't already, every idiosyncrasy of the people who you are with. Fortunately for Alyssa, Michael goes to work still over at Alaris, so she doesn't have to deal with him all day, and he doesn't have to deal with her all day talking about the wedding, so thank God for that. But if you don't have that opportunity to get out, that's got to stink. So a ride to Route 22, go over to Union, go over to Watchung, go over to those strip malls over there. It's joyful, even though the stores aren't even open, most of them. I guess Walmart isn't Target, right? So if you're out there and you want to share what you've been doing, feel free to dial in, 201-201-8720, 201-201-8720. It's funny, most people are hesitant to call in, but don't worry. You don't have to worry. If you do want to call in, you can. It's not going to be a big deal, trust me. We can just shoot the breeze, talk about what's going on in your world, but if you don't want to, fine. We'll give it till about 12:30. If nobody calls in, we'll sign off. But if you do, you can want to get anything off your chest. You want to talk about your wedding. You want to talk about your trip to Route 22. Feel free to call us, or don't. What about binge watching? There's some great new documentaries on Netflix right now. Patrick Ritchie says that he lives down on the Jersey Shore and it's empty. Patrick, do you mind sharing with us what municipality it is? I just can't even imagine. How did I know you'd be the first one to call in? It's Alyssa. You got to turn the volume off your computer, though.
Of course it's me.
Yeah, you have to turn the volume off your computer, though. Did you do that?
I'm calling from my phone.
I know, but I could hear myself in the background, so it's delayed. So you got to turn the volume off.
I turned it down.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So what have you been doing? All right. This is Alyssa Ficeto from Kearney, by the way. She, of course, is the daughter of Jerry Ficeto, the illustrious councilman in Kearney. Right? We can say that, right, Alyssa?
That's fine.
Okay, right. All right. Now you're getting married November 8th.
Yes, I am.
All right. Now you work for the Kearney school system, so you were one of the first people to be sent home. What are you doing at home?
Well, I mostly read books and cook and do what I can to help around and.
All right, but you still have the volume on your computer. I can still hear my voice echoing back. You got to turn it off.
I turned it down.
No, off. Down is not off. Completely off. The echo is terrible. All I can hear is my own voice, which is an awful sound anyway. So
I got rid of it.
Oh, good. All right. Now this will be recorded, so you can watch yourself afterwards. So you're cooking. What else are you doing?
Cooking, reading. I love my word search. Wedding planning.
Word search, wedding planning. What's that?
Mm-hmm. Like the word searches, where you search the words in like the books.
Yeah.
And then if I get bored of that, I do wedding planning.
Oh, that's separate. I thought you said word search, wedding planning. I thought maybe there were like puzzles to decide what you get.
No.
I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. All right, let me ask you this. This is something that I know the answer to, but not everybody else will. What are you watching on Netflix? Tell us about that one documentary with the tigers.
I just got done watching The Tiger King. He's serving 22 or 29 years in prison for a murder for hire plot to kill this woman who lives in Florida who runs a sanctuary. They were going at it for years.
Right.
And he had a sanctuary type of thing in Oklahoma. He was breeding tigers for cub petting,
right?
Which he would breed these tiger cubs, and people would pay him to take pictures with them and pet them, and that's basically how he was earning his living.
Right.
And this woman in Florida,
she was a royal pain, wasn't she?
Back and forth with him, fighting.
Right.
There's rumors she killed her husband, put him through a meat grinder and fed him to her tigers.
Did you just say a meat grinder?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to that part yet. Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's
okay.
really good.
Whoa. All right, so it's a good. So you recommend that, right? It's five.
I totally recommend Tiger King.
How many episodes are there? Is it 5 or?
There's 8 episodes.
8 episodes. Okay. So if you haven't seen this, Alyssa says you should watch it, and I think, not just because we like all the same shows, but that's a great idea. Watching that one right now, right now.
Yeah.
There's another one about I forget what the name of it is, but it's about this woman who tested 30,000 samples of drugs in Massachusetts. And they think she may have falsified the records in many of these things. So I haven't seen the whole thing, but all these people who were some of them who were found guilty may not have actually possessed drugs because she was stuffing it with real drugs, and then she was taking some of the real drugs and licking it and snorting it. So that's another one out there too. All right, what else is going?
Also another one is Contingent. If you haven't seen that came out in 2011.
All right, tell me what that's all about.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was phenomenal. It explains all about this virus and how it gets released.
This virus?
Yeah.
The one we're dealing with now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so they were ready for planning for
It
this.
will explain everything. Highly recommend it.
Did you watch the whole thing already, or?
I started like the first minute and a half,
Okay.
and then I fell asleep.
Okay. All right, so
So
we'll have to.
I would recommend that one as well.
All right, now, tell us a little bit about your wedding, because you're getting married November 8th, God willing, and so you've been doing a lot of planning for that too, right?
I have been doing a lot of planning. I'm getting married November 8th of this year.
Who's officiating at your wedding?
Actually, one of my best friends, who I consider to be a brother to me, which is you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Kevin Knessa.
I was being a ball breaker, and now you're making me blush. Thank you.
And Michael and I are more than thrilled and happy to have you do it with us.
Thank you. Speaking of Michael, is he still going to work?
He is. He's working 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
Okay.
He is completely safe. He has his gloves, his masks on, constantly in the building. Before he leaves, when he goes into work, he has his temperature taken, washes his hands thoroughly 40 times a day. His temperature when he leaves at 4 o'clock. When he gets home, his hands get washed, and he jumps right in the shower.
He's actually watching right now. He just popped up in the chat room.
Hi, Michael.
There he
Love
is.
you, baby.
Say hello
Be
to your
safe.
fiance. Thank you, Kevin. Here
Hi,
is the groom. You probably don't notice this. There's a picture of him too with his mask on. So that's great news. Are they, without saying where he works, are they providing the protective equipment that he needs?
Yes.
Good. They should be. He's in the chat room and he's saying he's working right now, and he's we'll just say, without saying anything else, that he's in the healthcare field, and I'm very, very glad to hear that he is being provided with what needs to be provided. Not enough of that's happening, Alyssa. You've seen that on TV, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No. I can't imagine that there, if you can imagine this, that there are hospitals in Manhattan that are, using these garbage bags, and they're telling people to bring your own and reuse it. I mean, that's just incomprehensible, isn't it?
It's scary.
It is. It is. What else are
It's
you?
very scary.
What else are you going to be doing in the next couple of days and weeks? Have you had any thoughts, any plans?
Well, I used to write poems, so I think I might pick up my poem book and start writing more poems.
Would you come on then one day and read us a few of your poems? How about that?
Sure.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right. Now listen. Here's one thing you got to remember. In the history of the Observer Live, you are the very first person to ever call in. And so even though you were my dear friend and my little sister, I will never be able to thank you enough for that, because you took the risk, you did it, and I hope you'll do it again if we do this again, will you?
Of course I will.
Okay. You be careful. I love you.
I will too. You too.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you again for what you're doing.
Thank you, too, because you supporting us makes it worth the while. So thank you to you, your mom, dad, your fiance, your sister, everybody. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. You guys be safe.
Okay, you too. That is Alyssa Ficeto. She is the daughter of Jerry Ficeto, 4th Ward Councilman. Earlier, Larry Handlin was calling in, but I couldn't take him because Alyssa had called in at the same time. So, Larry, if you want to call back, if you're still listening, please feel free. I'd love to know what's going on with you or anybody else. 201-201-8720 is the number to call. And, we set this up for you guys to be able to vent a little bit. You can talk about anything you want, whether it's your recipes or if you have something you want to get off your chest, something that's on your mind. But again, we thank Alyssa Ficeto being the very first person to ever call in. I should have known she would do it. Here's Larry Handlin. Hi, Larry Handlin.
Hey, Kev, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you holding up?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're just following all the guidelines, keeping that social distance going on. But, being your live, just want to get some reminders out to people. People are pretty anxious right now.
Sure.
And everything else. Everybody wants to know where to go for testing and stuff. But, they got to remember that, the testing doesn't change what the treatment is. If they're feeling symptomatic, stay home.
Really?
Notify your health officials, your doctor, If you need to get a script, they'll get you in to get you tested, but you should separate yourself, isolate, and that home isolation will be, you'll still have to home isolate. The dire need of treatment is hospitals are overwhelmed, and that's like the last resort. So if you can have a mild case and self-quarantine and stay home and monitor your temperature, you can get through this. But self-isolation, knowing the symptoms, so on and so forth, that coughing, that fever, feeling tired, so on and so forth, just to get that information out to people.
Do you think that are the doctors saying that if it's mild that you should stay away from the testing centers? Is that basically what's happening?
Well, if your doctor feels there's a criteria, that people are asked, that you would be asked when you call in, if you call into some of the call centers and so on, and if they feel that you need to come in for testing, they're going to get the testing. Hopefully, Abbott comes through with their testing equipment that can give us results more rapidly than 5 to 7 days, and people aren't waiting for that. A lot of people have stepped up during this crisis and are doing great things, and it's a matter of all coming together and making it work.
Is that the 15-minute testing thing that they've been talking about that you mentioned from Abbott?
Well, actually, I think watching last night, the Abbott representative said they're looking at possibly 5 to 7 minutes.
Whoa!
So that's pretty amazing, and they figure they can get 50,000 tests a day.
Wow! You have a pulse on everything that's going on in this world, whether it's local, national, globally. Tell me what you think about what's going on right now with the testing, and whether the pace is acceptable or whether it needs to be really sped up, or what are you thinking right now, Larry Handlin?
Honestly, I think we're doing the best we can with the resources we have. Our first responders are being exposed on a daily basis, and they could be mildly symptomatic and not know they have it, but they're constantly exposed, separated from their families. We are putting testing centers up on a daily basis. Meadowlands just opened up today the exposition center to take some of the overflow from the hospitals, the non-critical people, the non-COVID people, to relieve some of those emergency rooms so that people can get in and get the proper treatment and testing. It's just a matter of people following the guidelines, the social distancing, making sure your hands you're washing your hands, you're doing all the things you're supposed to. And God, if you are wearing gloves and a mask and you go to the supermarket, please take them off, throw them in the garbage. Don't leave them on the street. Don't leave them in the curb. Don't leave them for somebody else to be exposed to.
It's unbelievable that in 2020, we'd have to say that. The conditions in some of the streets are as disgusting as they've ever been. Now, I understand there isn't street sweeping, or if there is and cars aren't parked, they're not moving them. But some of these spots are gross. I mean, and we're talking biohazards here, Larry. It's unbelievable that people need to be told that in this day and age, isn't it?
It comes down to self-pride, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's people having self-pride, and they feel, well, it's not me. I pay taxes and everything else. I'm a homeowner in Kearney. Look, I try and keep the front of my house neat and clean and everything else, and the town does the street sweeping. The cars are moved and everything else. But you continually see on the basis that people just drop things in the street. And you've known me for a long time. I actually confront people.
I know.
I confront them, and I would say, somebody here, hey, you dropped this,
Good.
They're almost embarrassed.
They should be.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I think you just need to embarrass people to get them to do what they need to do. I know my wife, we're shopping, and we're trying to shop for my mother, who's 78,
God bless her.
My son, who's with his girlfriend that have a 3-year-old. So we're trying to limit that one of us is doing the shopping, not everybody. And she's at the shop, right, and she's got she's well behind the person that's in front of her, and the gentleman that was behind her was literally right up against her.
Oh my God.
she's like, can you please move, please move, please move? And there was a communication barrier, and it finally got straightened out. But it was just people are not heeding the warnings, and the warnings are out there.
In a case like that, does this guy just not realize what he's doing, or does he not really know that we're not supposed to be that close? What do you think on that?
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination. People are. It's right now. It's me, me, me. Look at what's going on. People are still trying to hoard supplies and everything else. Our supply train in America is very well stocked. We're not going to run out of food. We're not going to run out of supplies anytime soon. But we just need to allow those people to get back to normal levels. We have to get them. We have to allow those workers. Those workers, our nurses and doctors and emergency first responders are working nonstop, but so are our grocery supply chain and our truck drivers and everything else. And we need to give those people some time. I know some of the food stores had to adjust the hours just to give their workers time and a break to regenerate and restock and properly clean and disinfect the areas of these stores.
Unbelievable. On the way out, Larry, we're talking to Larry Handlin. You're a first responder with the East Newark Fire Department. Tell us how things are going with the East Newark Fire Department, and if they have all the equipment they need, and if they need donations, anything. Let us know what's going on there.
Well, East Newark, they have protocols in place. As you know, we have a new mayor, and she's in touch with OEM every day, and we do have masks and we do have supplies. We actually had a woman, and I'm going to give a shout out to her. I posted it on my wall. I didn't say her name yet yesterday, but Debbie Mikowski. She took some time. She had materials. She made masks, fabric masks, and got them up to St. Barnabas Hospital. That's what people are doing to pitch in and everything else. Unfortunately, I'm on a limited. I'm on light duty because of an injury back in January. So my response is not there, but daily I'm trying to keep our members informed with emails and that come through the county and the county, the OEM coordinator, Chief Dill from Kearney, putting the stuff out with the chief stuff and everything else, and we're trying to keep the rank and file informed there and keep everybody safe. So
Beautiful.
That's important that we keep everybody informed. The top guy needs the top guy knows, but the bottom guy needs to know just as much in these times. So we're trying to keep them informed.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Larry, for sharing that and for calling in and for all that you do for this community. You're an unsung hero of Kearney as far as I'm concerned, and East Newark. So
I appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you so
really
much.
Appreciate it, and thanks. I look forward to your ride home today.
Thank you.
Don't forget, it's a little warmer out. Take that ride through the park.
That's what I'll do. I'll go to the park in Passaic, okay? We'll get that today. Thanks,
We'll
brother.
talk to you later.
All right,
Thanks.
Larry. That's Larry Handlin. He of Kearney and, of course, of the East Newark Fire Department and so many other things. During Larry's call, I don't believe that I had to do this, but Mayor Bob Giangeruso of Lyndhurst called, and I had to decline the call. Maybe this is him right now. I don't know. Of course, it's not ringing right here. You can hear it ringing, but it's not ringing on my phone. I don't see. Here he is. Here's the mayor of Lyndhurst, Robert Giangeruso. Mayor, how are you? You there, Mayor? Mayor Giangeruso, you there? Unfortunately, that didn't work so well, but I'm going to call him right back. So maybe we can get him on the air, see how things are going in Lyndhurst. I apologize. This is the first time we've ever done this. So,
Hello.
Hey, Mayor, it's Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. How you doing?
Mayor, the important question is, how are you doing? And I know a lot's been going on over the last couple of days. How are things?
Yes, I'm doing okay. We just lost one of my good cousins, a great friend of mine, plus a cousin of mine, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sad time right now,
You have been through
We've
so
been
much.
battling this we've battled this virus for about a week and a half.
My goodness. And it goes so quickly. And you have been through so much over the last couple of months, losing your brother not too long ago, and now this.
My mother,
Yeah.
Good friends, also good friends.
How are you holding up?
Yeah.
Are you able to get into the office?
I go into the office. I do a video once a week for the residents to see what we give them an update on what's going on.
How do you feel?
And
are you feeling okay though? Like that more than anything.
I feel very, health-wise, I feel very good.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. If it's not asking too much, fortunately, it seems like the township of Lyndhurst hasn't been hit as much as some other towns, but you have had some cases, correct, in the township?
No, we've been hit. We have about 61, 63 cases of positive testing.
61. Wow. You know,
yes, we lost a few in town.
You have lost a few. Okay.
Yes. And this coronavirus has took an impact on us. Everybody's sitting on edge. People are isolated, experiencing not being with their families and loved ones. Stressful time.
It really is. I've never seen any.
All we could tell people is just stay in. Until this pandemic away.
Speaking of that, have the people for the most part been heeding your warnings and staying in Lyndhurst?
Yes, I have to say they are doing pretty good. We have a few people that that don't follow the rule, but it's really starting to crack down. People are starting to understand. They're seeing a lot of things on TV that are not good, so they've been told many times, stay in.
Exactly.
Safety for your family and yourself, and for the residents.
Right. It's just too important not to heed that warning, and the few who don't, just hope it doesn't affect them. We're talking to Mayor Robert Giangeruso of Lyndhurst. Mayor, I believe in one of the videos you did last week, you had mentioned that ShopRite of Lyndhurst is offering hours for seniors. Is that still in effect?
Yes, it is. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 a.m. 8 a.m. Seniors 16 over.
Okay. Beautiful. Mayor Giangeruso, I can't thank you enough for calling in, and we'll let you know right here, but you know this, but whatever you need, you call us right away and consider it done. And thank you for showing amazingly brave leadership during this crisis. You're killing it. Thank you so much, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Kevin. You stay safe.
Okay. Talk to you soon. That's Mayor Robert Giangeruso, the mayor of Lyndhurst. He's really had a tough couple of weeks and months. He lost his brother not too long ago, his cousin now with this COVID virus at a too young age, but he is out there every single day kicking this virus right in the rear end and being very, very stern about it. He's being very stern about it. Listen to what he's saying, please. And this is not to say that they're any better or any worse than any of the other police departments and fire departments, but the public safety department in Lyndhurst is handling this magnificently. They really are. And it's because of him. He is the chairman of public safety in the township of Lyndhurst, and he had them ready from day one. And I spoke with Vinny Ortieri, Detective Sergeant, the PIO. They are just doing a phenomenal job in Lyndhurst, keeping this together, and we can't thank him enough for calling in. I can't believe I had to decline his call when I was talking to Larry. Mayor, I apologize. I was not in my intention. I would never, ever want to miss your call. Also, while Mayor Giangeruso called in, so did Scott Wallace, and I had to decline his call, too. Unfortunately, we can only do this one call at a time. I haven't said, we don't have a screening system or anything like that, so I apologize to the mayor. I apologize to Scott that I wasn't able to get you on the air. But, Scott, if you're still around, please call back. Melanie wants me to remind you that in front of some of the restaurants on Kearney Avenue, they are prohibiting parking for anybody except people who are going to pick up orders. That's a good thing. It's just that it's not elsewhere. It's only on Kearney Avenue, I think. Here's Scott Wallace. Scott Wallace, how are you today, buddy?
Very good, Kevin. How you guys holding up?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're here every day from 10 to 2, sometimes a little longer. And I know you at Kearney Collision are still open, right? Tell the listeners about this.
Yes, we're here. We have our guys very well separated. One guy's in one building and two guys are in another building, and I'm stuck in my office. But we're trying to stay open. We're trying to keep here for the people. Whatever you need, we're here. Just like you guys are doing.
Yeah. Have you seen a steady flow too, or people still coming in? I guess people
No, it's
not
quiet.
it's quieter.
I mean, no cars are really on the road, which is a good thing. But we're here just in case. You know, you need air in your bicycle tires, stop by. We'll take care of you.
What else? Yeah. What else? What other kind of work would you do that if, God forbid, there's an emergency? Let everybody know about
If
that.
there's an emergency, I mean, we're equipped to do, full service mechanical work. I know there's a couple friends of mine that have shops that are not open right now that do mechanical work, so we're available for some of that. And just to help people out, whatever we need to do.
Beautiful. It's amazing. Like you kind of,
we can do more.
right? You almost have to reinvent everything now, right, Scott? Like it's just
Pretty much.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we've never done a call in like this, but I think it's been great so far because it's a lifeline. People can get their message out, and I'm so glad you called.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa made me do it.
I should have known.
Yeah,
but
I was put up to it. That's how it works.
well, but you want to know something? I was thinking about who might call in without that, and I had a feeling you would be one of the first to call in anyway. So I know you would have, right, Scott? Just in
I
case.
usually pay attention to you guys. I try to follow you. You guys do some great work out there. You're always keeping people informed, and I think it's great.
Thank you.
Really do.
I love passing by your shop too and seeing life there. Because I know that there's still some life left in this place. And listen, I don't want to sound like a complete kiss ass here, but the truth of the matter is, you are a very important person in this town. What you do is,
I appreciate that.
your work is incredible. I would even tell my worst enemy to get your work done. What's that, Lisa?
Well, my guys.
Lisa said you.
The best.
Yeah, they are, but they got a great leader. And Lisa said you threw her under the bus, so that's okay though. I figured it out anyway.
Well, that's part of my job, throwing Lisa under the bus. That's how Gotta keep the humor.
Exactly, Scott.
What we got left?
Yeah, exactly. Let everybody know how they can get in touch with you in case they need some work done.
Absolutely. Just call the shop 201-955-0606 or email cornycollision@gmail.com or just swing by.
Beautiful.
We're here.
Have you
Whatever you need.
Have you stopped by the Greeks at all this week or last week?
No, really haven't been doing too much of that.
Yeah.
We're trying to stay here and we're getting stuff delivered.
Well,
But Johnny's there for everybody. I know that. He's cooking up a storm for takeout and doing a good job with it.
Yeah, fortunately, he's still getting his takeaway, and it's just very eerie. You know how, like, I've seen you there so many times. There's always very little seats available, and to see every booth, it's just frightening to see. But we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through this because of people like you.
We'll never forget it.
That's for sure.
There's going to be a new normal when this is done, but we'll get through it.
That's it. Scott Wallace, thank you so much for the call.
Appreciate the things that we had before a lot more.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Get some of them back.
That is the damn truth.
Well.
Okay, brother. Thank you for calling in.
Well, guys. God bless.
You too,
Take
Scott.
care.
Okay. That was Scott Wallace, the owner and proprietor of Kearney Collision, Kearney Avenue, 530 Kearney Avenue, right across from our old office. You need any work done on your car, even if it's just mechanical work. I didn't know this. He'll do it. He'll do. I didn't know he did just regular mechanical work. So I'm telling you, impeccable work by Scott Wallace. Impeccable. Larry Handlin says, sorry, Kev, just cut me off the next time. Absolutely not. Every phone call we had today was important. The only problem is I just don't have, we can't do the. Well, I'll try to find out if there's like a way to screen calls, but absolutely not. Would have never done that. Everything that everybody's had to say today is vitally important. And I thank you, and I thank Alyssa, Mayor Giangeruso of Lyndhurst, and of course Scott Wallace for calling in and sharing their stories. Remember, if you need to get some work done on your car, please go to Scott. He'll get it done for you, and he'll do it fast, he'll do it right, and he'll do it right the first time. You won't have to go back, trust me. Larry Handlin says, never thought we would see anything in our lifetime like this. As I get to come up to wrap up the program here, how true is that? I remember it was about 8 p.m. on September 11th, 2001, and I was at home. I was still living with my grandmother and my uncle on Ivy Street in Kearney. 37. It was the dead end over by Franklin School. we had a magnificent view of the skyline in that night, looking out across and seeing the smoke and the sky and all that. But I remember sitting at my desk at about 8 o'clock, and Chris, just saw Scott Wallace's name, who says this is 9/11 times 500, which is, imagine that. Chris Matthews comes on, and he says they're evacuating the Empire State Building. Some of you may recall this. That happened that night. And we didn't know. We didn't know if the attacks were over. We didn't know what was coming next. And sure enough, they were evacuating the Empire State Building. And, man, I remember the feeling in my stomach was just like, holy cow, I'm afraid to go outside. And, sometimes on the weekends now, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, we can't, but, like, even to go to the store. That feeling of not knowing what's going to happen next. I hate, but I do it every morning, waking up and turning on the news. Because every single day, it's like, okay, it's tripled or it's quadrupled, and it's getting worse in Manhattan. It's getting worse in Queens, where it's Queens, forget about it. I don't know if it's because of the Asian population, but Queens is getting just slammed with this. And then Bergen County, Hudson, and Union. Governor Murphy was on with Anderson Cooper last night, and he said that Bergen, Essex, and Hudson are the worst, obviously because of the proximity to Manhattan and New York City, but the borough of Queens is really the one that's getting hit. And that unknown, as Alyssa just said, what do you feel? Like you don't know what's gonna be the next thing. Alyssa and I text every day just about, unless I'm in a mood and I'm tired and I sometimes just can't even look at the screen. She'll attest to that. But it's like, what next? What are we gonna hear next? To so casually say that this could kill up to 200,000 people or more, it's just like, wow, is this really the norm? The new norm that Scott Wallace mentioned? It's like, whoa, that's mind-boggling. And I don't want to ever feel comfortable with that. I don't ever want to get to the point where I feel immune to that. Every time somebody says there's more deaths, I want it to sting. I don't want to ever feel like, this is just the way it is now. More and more people are going to die. I want it to hurt every single time. I don't want to become emotionally immune to this. And I fear that at some point, people are going to get immune to it because it happens so much. That would stink. But it's a certain possibility that it might get to that. And I don't think that's where we need to be, truly. Alyssa, of course, is, as we had mentioned, Jerry Ficeto's daughter, and she popped up something. You can stay with the West Hudson Arts and Theater Company on their Facebook page. They're showing previous films of shows and music performances. That's great. I hope Miracle on 34th Street is on there, because I never got to see Ron Lear, my best friend and my mentor, playing Santa Claus, so I hope that's up there. Patrick Ritchie down the shore says, I don't like feeling like this, afraid of the unknown. I couldn't agree with you more, Patrick. I don't like this feeling either, but I just don't want to ever get to the point where I'm immune to that feeling, because there's so much death involved. I don't want to ever feel like, 500 died last night. Well, 1,000 died 2 nights ago, so I guess that's a bonus. I don't ever want to be feeling nonchalant about it, I guess. I hate the feeling. I hate the feeling, too. I can't even describe it. It's not anxiety. It's not sadness. It's not anger. It's just, maybe it's a pot of all of that. It's all kind of mixed together. Ron was Kris Kringle. Lisa's checking out the window to see how it looks in the parking lot. We check every day just to see what's out there.
They actually have a cleaning service in.
The cleaning service inside now. That's good. There, you can wipe down all the germs. That's it.
And there's no gloves.
No gloves. That's even better. Imagine that. You're a doctor's office. You ask for a cleaner to come in, and they come without gloves. Even I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing them because my hands are cold. These probably are filled with germs, these gloves. So, but I'm not going to give myself anything, I don't think. So, but they're texting gloves, St. Peter's Prep. Just wanted to show those. I'm going to wrap things up right now. But before I do, really want to thank Alyssa Ficeto. I want to thank Bobby Giangeruso, the mayor of Lyndhurst. I want to thank Larry Handlin of Goodman Sales. And, of course, Scott Wallace of Kearney Collision for logging on, for calling in today. We got 4 calls in an hour. And 2 were planned and 2 weren't. So that's pretty damn good for the first time. Maybe we'll do this every day, so that if people want to get something off their chest and talk about it, I know it might be monotonous, but you want to get out of the, the usual rigmarole of doing nothing, you call in tomorrow. We need to get Melanie Ryan on here because she has the pulse of the town of Kearney in mind like no one else does. So hopefully we can get her on tomorrow. Maybe Councilwoman Carol Jean Doyle or Mayor Santos or somebody or other mayors in the other towns. But again, to all the callers, thank you. To all of you who are watching, just remember that we all love you. Very, very much. Miss being able to give you a hug. Miss be able to give Lisa a hug, my mother a hug, anybody who would take a hug. I can't wait to be able to do that again. I hope you are too. Stay well, stay warm, stay safe. Patrick, thank you too for logging on from down the shore. And don't forget, get some recipes together, and we can share them for Easter when we come back together tomorrow about noon o'clock. Noon o'clock. It's tough. Sorry about that. But yeah, get some your best Easter recipes together, and we'll share them. I think that I was hoping some people might, but maybe we'll get that tomorrow. Okay. So listen, from the newsroom of the Observer and theobserver.com, Kevin Kness signing off on behalf of every one of us here at the Observer. Lisa, Bobby, Michelle, Kimmy, we love you. We miss you. Stay warm. Stay safe, because we want you back tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.